to chill. I'm fluent. He's chill. What's up, Jake?
In effect, yo. In effect. We got wild card weekend football.
Oh, we're going to talk a lot about the wild card weekend.
Yes, sir.
We are going to talk about my favorite. And I promise after this one, I'll leave it alone. But we're going to talk about my favorite NBA conspiracy. I tried to bring it up on a different show, and they said it was in black and white. And we don't talk about things in black and white. We only talk about color. So we didn't talk about it. So we're going to talk about it today. And then mail drop is all NBA. It's all NBA and mail drop. So we're going to have some fun with your questions that you've sent. So let's jump right in. First off, I want to start in the NFL. I think wild card weekend is when did it become super wild card weekend? Did they just decide to add the super in it?
Well, when you added the extra game, then you added the extra wild card. So now you got a Monday night game. So Tone, in addition to,
but there's no extra game.
Well,
there's one less bye. Well, okay. All right.
Actually, Tone, it is because you just went to McDonald's and instead of a cheeseburger, you got a double cheeseburger now. And in addition to a double cheeseburger, you got 2 slices of cheese. You didn't get one.
But they don't call it a super cheeseburger.
Well, it's now a triple one because now you got 3 slices of cheese.
I feel like the NFL could be more creative. They just add the word super in front. It's the Super Bowl. It's the Super Wild Card Weekend. It's the Super Halftime Show. All right, but fine. I just think there's some marketing people that probably could do better. But okay, let's get to it. I'm just gonna go through every game. There was only one game we both got wrong, and we're gonna talk about it because at the end, because I think it leads to a bigger question. So let's start with the games kind of in order. Cincinnati hosts the Las Vegas Raiders. I want to start with Vegas and say, with everything they've been through, right, with John Gruden, with Ruggs, just that whole team has been. People want to blame it that they're in LA and there's in Las Vegas and there's too many distractions. But for them to go through this season, even the head coach is interim, and now they fired their general manager, Mike Mayock. The fact that they made it to the playoffs, this team might be a lot better than we think.
Way better. Because
if they made it this far with all those things going on, what happens if they bring in an experienced GM, an experienced coach who can calm everybody down? Do they still lose this game to the Bengals?
I don't think so. Well, let's rewind the clock, Tone, and the controversy with John Gruden, right? And getting him out, which was devastating in itself. Sure. So they could go to pieces right there. But then they hold it together. And then their first round pick, this isn't a guy who they got in the 5th round or the 6th round. This isn't a guy that just got on the team. This is a guy who's a catalyst to what they're doing in terms of building for the future. This is a guy that is very important to what they're doing. He ends up killing somebody. And now he's off the unit. Right then and there, we could go to pieces, Tone, and we could wrap the season up, but instead they rally around each other. That's a testament to what David Carr's leadership has been. So now, if they can get some better leadership in management, where they can get themselves a better general manager. I also think that they need to upgrade at the offensive coordinator position. I do think that they need to upgrade at the offensive coordinator position. And I think they have their quarterback. I absolutely believe that. I think that when I look at them as a whole in terms of their coaching, I think Brian Leftwich would be really good for them. I think Eric Bieniemy would be really good for them.
I'm obsessed with Leftwich going to Jacksonville. I think Eric Bieniemy. You give Eric Bieniemy a healthy, hopefully, Josh Jacobs, Waller, and Derek Carr, Derek Carr is not elite, but he's good enough to take you deep into the playoffs, maybe even to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
You need to get some better play. Obviously, offensive line, defense, all that kind of stuff always has to play well too. But so let's move to the team that won, the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm a big fan of Joe Burrow. He's proven me wrong. I told you coming out of the draft, I thought Cincinnati should focus on all their other holes. They went with the quarterback. I thought they should go offensive line. They went with Jamar Chase. Man, that's paying off. That's paying off for the Bengals. Burrow looks like a top 5. Like you can argue 5, 10. He looks like a top 5 quarterback in this league.
Yes, he does. Absolutely, he does, Tone. And at the beginning of the season, I was high on them specifically because of what you constantly talk about. What is the catalyst of your unit as a football team?
Well, it's your quarterback.
If you get a quarterback, we can build around that. And I felt like we got our quarterback. Yeah, he got hurt last year, but he was on his way before he got hurt to over 4,000 yards and almost 30 touchdowns. So I'm thinking, I think we got our quarterback. Now all we have to do is build it around him. So you grab Ja'Marr Chase, right? T. Higgins has already been solid, right? And I keep forgetting. I can't say
Tyler Boyd.
Not Tyler Boyd.
CJ Uzuma.
Yeah, that's him.
I don't know if I'm saying. I always say last names wrong, but I think it's
Uzuma. Now, when I look at that unit offensively, and Tone, and you already know how I feel about Joe Mixon. I love Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
So when I look at this unit, one, we got a young unit in Joe Mixon. We got a young unit in Ja'Marr Chase. We got a young unit. T. Higgins on his second year at Clemson. The tight end Uzuma, CJ Boyd. And now we got our quarterback. So offensively, we're going to be around for a long time. So I'm looking at,
and they got to win now. Let's be honest though, but they need to win now when Burrow's on his rookie deal,
right?
Because we've seen too many times, right? Once the quarterback gets paid,
absolutely, we're absolutely gonna have to pay him. And with that being said, there's still a window because that rookie deal. I mean, we're only in year 2 of year 5 of a 5-year deal. Not to mention, and you mentioned this constantly, Tone, that division that they're in, the AFC North, that is not a cakewalk. That is not a cakewalk. So when you're in a division like that where you are the cream of the crop, and I think that they could be at the top of that division for a long time. So
I was going to say the AFC North, as good as as competitive as it's been.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure about Baltimore now. You already know how I feel about Cleveland. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback in Pittsburgh. They could be really good, but they could, if they, let's say, go a year with Mason Rudolph, they're not going to be very good.
Well, we've already seen that, Tom.
So now they might have the AFC North maybe for a year or two pretty easy.
Correct. Now, with that being said, I just liked how I dug the play calling. I dug how calm Joe Burrow did not look like a first-year playoff quarterback. He looked real seasoned. He looked like he knew he had command of the offense. I really thought they did a really good job of running the football and clock management. And I really thought, and I think they got a good shot in Tennessee this weekend. Now, I can't say
we're gonna save those picks for Friday.
I'm gonna save those picks. I'm gonna save that for another time. But I really like what Cincinnati did against the Raiders. I thought that they were a better team, and I thought they did a better job at handling themselves against Cincinnati.
So let's talk about the controversial play, however.
Oh,
Joe Burrow, as he's running out of bounds, inadvertent whistle, throws the ball to the back of the end zone. Tyler Boyd catches it. Now, by rule, if there's an inadvertent whistle, the play is stopped dead. Now, I don't think that affected the play at all.
He was wide open.
However, by rule, inadvertent whistle means play is dead and you have to replay the down.
Right.
They instead decide not to. And now the officiating crew is rumored to not be, they're not going to play it. They're not going to officiate another NFL playoff game this season, at least. Do you think that play, because obviously if you're a Raiders fan, right, you got flashbacks of the Tuck rule. Do you think that play, what do you think of that play? Let me put it that way.
First of all, I thought the play design, I thought that it worked perfectly.
For sure.
That's number one. But number two, Tone, as an official, I refereed for 5 years. I refereed junior college and Division III basketball. I refereed for 5 years. When we get into our pregame meeting, one of the first things that we say is these guys are the show. They're going to make us part of the show. How much they're going to make us, that's up to them. So stay out of the way. So an inadvertent whistle, by rule, we have to replay this down. We have to.
Right.
That's not a situation where we can go, well, we could. No. By rule, that touchdown doesn't count, and we have to replay it. We cannot get that wrong as an officiating crew, because if we get that wrong as an officiating crew, what it does is it questions our credibility now. And this is the playoffs, Tone, where the stakes are at their highest. And nobody can trust us going forward, because if we get this wrong, you can't trust us in the divisional round. You can't trust us in the AFC Championship game. Absolutely not. So I thought that the play design was very good. I thought that play should have absolutely been replayed because by rule.
Yeah. That's well, I guess it's done is done now.
Right.
To the one that hurt me the most.
Oh boy.
The one that hurt me the most this weekend because I was beating that drum. I was like, there's no way, Brady leaves, wins a Super Bowl. They don't even make the playoffs. There's no way he comes back and with his rookie quarterback who looks really good and get blown out by the Bills. I mean, that did not look like a New England Patriots team. Maybe a regular season, not a playoff. When was the last time you saw the Patriots play like that in a playoff game?
Well, that's also true. But with that being said, Tone, I look at Josh Allen and he looked like he just had command. He just had way more command of that offense than what Mac Jones did. Mac Jones looked like a rookie. He looked like a guy who, this is the first time I've done this, and I really don't know what I'm doing, so you're going to have to be a little bit more patient with me. Now, I do look at New England, and I look at a team that in the future, I think that they're going to be trouble. Yeah. I absolutely think that they're going to be trouble, but they definitely look overmatched. When Josh Allen is your leading rusher and he's got complete command of that offense, I thought that defense did a stellar job at not just keeping Mac Jones in front of him, but making him make decisions, poor decisions that he just didn't want to make. And I thought they did a good job at fooling him and changing coverages at the line of scrimmage. He just looked like he was just discombobulated. And I thought that defense did a really good job in doing that.
They did. And it's, as I was watching the game, I kept saying, this is the Buffalo team we thought we were going to get. Right at the beginning of the season, we all said Buffalo's going to win the AFC East. Buffalo was going to be the team to challenge. At the time, we thought the Chiefs were going to be the cream of the crop. The Chiefs for that AFC crown. And they didn't play like that throughout the season consistently. That team that showed up this week, that's the team I thought they were going to be. So good for them. Unfortunately, you got that one right. You picked the Bills, so you're good on that one.
Give it up, Tone. Give it up, Tone. I know where you're going with this, but come on with it, Tone.
No, I'm gonna move to the next game. I think the Patriots, like you said, I think they have an opportunity moving forward. I'm disappointed in their play. Kudos to the Bills Mafia. Congratulations. You have a tough game this week against Kansas City Chiefs, who beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, who many kind of thought, why is Pittsburgh even in the playoffs? Like it just, I feel like Ben said his goodbyes at Heinz Field, went to Baltimore. Right, one of his rivals, I think Terrell Suggs was there, and just said goodbye. And then it's like, oh wait, you got to play another game.
Which
and it's just like, I don't think he wanted to be there. Now, in their defense, they played really well. I think the first quarter was like 0-0. They played really well, but it ended up being obviously Kansas City. I don't think we're surprised that Kansas City handled them. We both picked Kansas City. I will say this. Most passing yards in the NFL postseason history. You have any ideas who the top five are?
Most passing yards in postseason history. I think Montana's in that conversation. I think Brady's in that conversation. I think Breeze is in that conversation. No Breeze.
You got the first. You got Brady.
I think Montana. I think Brett Favre is in that conversation.
He is in that conversation.
I think Donovan McNabb is in that conversation too.
He is not.
No, so no Donovan McNabb. Let's see. That's all I got now.
You're missing a big one. Okay. Number one, Tom Brady. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. And like by a wide margin, like 12,449 and counting, right? Here, and why I say and counting, he's at 12,449. Number two is Peyton Manning at 7,300.
Right.
He's got 5,000 yards and almost counting double. On Peyton Manning.
Almost double.
Yeah. Number three is Brett Favre. That one surprised me. Number four is your boy, Joe Montana. Number five, obviously the reason I brought it up, Ben Roethlisberger.
Ben.
Big Ben. Yeah. That one, when I saw that one, I was surprised. So great career, 2 Super Bowls. I think 6 Pro Bowls, number 5 all time in playoff passing. So I listen, I know sometimes this is I know everybody else is listening, but I'm saying this directly to Ben Roethlisberger. I know at times the hunger will be there and you're going to want to play. And there's going to be a team whose quarterback gets hurt and they're going to want a veteran to step in. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Go walk off into the sunset. Do whatever it is that is on your next on your list to do. I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, go do that with the same enthusiasm that you put into playing QB. Because the one thing I could say about Ben Roethlisberger, love or hate him, you could tell that man loved playing quarterback. And so I hope he moves on and enjoys his retirement from the NFL. But let's move on. I hated seeing a lot of guys in a lot of sports just come back that one extra year. It's just like
just so you know, Tone, I think the Colts called Phillip Rivers up and he was like, I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah.
He was like, I'm good.
Yeah. As he should have been. So good for him. All right. No surprise in Kansas City. We got Tampa Bay, Philadelphia. We were on upset alert. No, we weren't. Everybody picked Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay came out and won. I think it was like 31. Was it 31-0 until the Eagles got a couple of late scores? No surprise. But Jalen Hurts maybe has a chance of being a quarterback.
I do think he does. He looked like somebody that it was his first year because there were a lot of throws that he would like back. Because I thought that offense, the way that they had it designed, they had a lot of open looks and they had a lot of opportunities to advance the football. Tone, I stand on this. You and I have had this conversation. Devontae Smith needs to be the numero uno option in that offense. He needs to be the guy that they're running it through. He needs to be the guy that we are getting the football to. He's our deep ball threat. He's our third down threat. He needs to be the guy that they're involving more in that offense. Now, they can get themselves a running back. I think they can get themselves to replace Zach Ertz. But with that being said, Devontae Smith is the guy.
Yeah, he needs to be their Jamar Chase.
That's who he needs to be.
He needs to be. That's what they should have done with him, right?
Absolutely.
Tampa Bay, though, is it more Tampa Bay just struggling to find who's going to play, or was Philly's defense just because Philly's defense, although they scored that 31 points, Philly's defense looked good, looked pretty good against them. Well, initially.
I just thought it was Tom Brady. He just that offensive line, even though they're beat up, Tom Brady's ability to stand in the pocket and read your defense, you got no shot, Tone. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. If he could just stand back there and throw, he's gonna destroy you.
So are what you saw against Philly, are you concerned?
I absolutely am concerned because I look at how beat up they are, right? I look at how beat up they are, and I look at how fresh that Rams team looked yesterday, and they're going to be coming after Tom Brady. I don't think that they're going to be sitting in soft coverage. I don't think that they're going to be sitting in cover 3. I think they're going to send the house after him, and I think that they're going to do it more than often because what it reminds me of, Tone, it reminds me of Steve Spagnuolo in 2007 against the Patriots, where Spagnuolo made it clear, if this guy is able to sit in the pocket and throw all night, he's going to destroy us. We got to blitz him, and we got to blitz him regularly. We got to keep pressure on him. And I think that's what the plan is going to be with the Rams. It wasn't the plan with Philadelphia. They looked like they stayed in cover 2 and in soft coverage and just let him make reads. And I think that's what killed them.
So since you brought up the Rams, let's jump to that game. We both picked the Cardinals.
I did.
We both did. It's the only game we both picked wrong. I thought I was going to see the Cardinals kind of early season. They'd bring it back together. Obviously they're missing DeAndre Hopkins, but I thought that they would game plan. I thought Cliff Kingsbury would do a good enough job so that, because when Kyler has to scramble around and he's running around like that, it's actually not good. Although he's mobile, he's actually better when he doesn't kind of run around like crazy. When he's in a system, he is actually better. When he's in a controlled, I think when he's in a controlled.
That's what I was about to ask you. So you like him sitting in the pocket instead of being.
Look, I don't mind him moving. Look, when you have an athletic quarterback, you want to move him around. But I mean, designed, bootlegs, designed rollouts. What he was doing when he starts turning his back to the receivers,
improvising.
And improvising, I don't like him that way when he's under pressure. Listen, there's very few quarterbacks I like under pressure, right? Like that, you don't want to play like that anyways. But I think he really showed his inexperience. And I was betting on, I didn't know. I've never seen Kyler Murray in the playoffs. So I was betting on the guy I didn't know versus the guy I knew in Matthew Stafford. Right. I know Matthew Stafford doesn't play well. I know Matthew Stafford has an 0-3 record in the playoffs. And I thought, look, he's going to do, he didn't play. Let me just say this, because I'm going to get a lot of heat on this. Matthew Stafford wasn't this great quarterback who came out and won them the game. He was like 17 of 24, whatever he was, for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns and no picks. I'll give him that. I thought for sure he throws at least 1 pick six. He didn't throw any picks. So that's good. But I don't think he was the reason. I think they had a really I'm going to leave the defense out for a second because I think it was the defense. However, he played a very safe game plan. He gets Cam Akers back, and he gets, I think, 50-some odd yards from Akers, 50 yards from that other back. He rushes for about 20 yards. They get a really good running game. He plays a really safe passing game. Like, I think Kupp goes for like 5 for 60. OBJ goes same thing, kind of 4 or 5 receptions, 50, 60 yards. They both get a touchdown, Kupp and OBJ. It was a safe, smart Kyle Shanahan game plan, and let's rely on this defense. And the defense went after it. Yeah. But I'm going to bring up a question. So just keep what I'm about to say. Don't comment on it. Just keep it for a second, because I'm going to compare it to the next game we're going to talk about. Cliff Kingsbury. End of the season at Texas Tech in 2013. Loses 5 of 6. 14, loses 4 of 6. 15, loses 4 of 6. 16, loses 6 of 8. 17, loses 6 of 8. 18, loses 5 of 5. Oh, hey, you lost 5 of 5? Come on up. Let's make you an NFL head coach. 2019, as the Cardinals head coach, loses 7 of 9 to end the season. 2020, loses 5 of 7 to end the season. This year, loses 5 of 6. Is Cliff Kingsbury?
Tone, this stuff matters, man. A lot of people, what people will not accept is, well, this was college, or this was his previous team in the pros. You are what you've shown us. And until you show us anything different, this is who you are. So for Kingsbury to, in the other half of the season, which means that when we get to the better half of the season, when we get closer,
when people have some tape on you.
Yes, not only when people have some tape on you, when the bets get higher and the lights get brighter and the pressure's on, he crumbles. He's under 500 in the other half of the season. This matters, and it also matters that it carried over to the pro game, where not only the teams are better, the players are better, the coaching is better, the scheming is better. So this isn't a situation where we look at you and go, well, when he gets to the pros, this is going to be much different. But when he gets to the pros and it happens, you should not be surprised by this.
Well, the reason I bring up when there's tape on you, it's because what I think makes a coach, like, why do you have a head coach? Because anyone can say, here's a game plan, go do it, and then just walk away. A head coach, for me, obviously motivates team morale, blah, 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 all that stuff too. And that's important. I shouldn't have said blah, 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 because it's important. But their biggest asset, their biggest thing that they need to do is make season adjustments and in-game adjustments. It seems to me like Cliff Kingsbury doesn't make in-season or in-game adjustments. Right. Because if you're winning and then everybody figures out how to beat you and then they start beating you and you don't do anything about it or nothing that works, well, then there's a problem with your in-season adjustments, because you can't roll out your whole offense, as an example, day one of the NFL season and play the exact same offense the whole season. You'll lose games late. Yeah. You need to change it. You need to put in new wrinkles, new formations. Like, you need to do something different. And what that tells me is that he doesn't. And
to add to your point, Tone, when I think about making in-season adjustments, how about his in-game adjustments? Because he's the kind of guy who, if something's working, he doesn't really go away from it. He'll stick to that, which I can appreciate that, and especially in basketball. You know, if the big guy on the box is scoring, go to him again. if this guy is running the football and our running game is working, keep running it. Well, he also doesn't adjust neither when something isn't working. Now, I can appreciate sticking to the run, Tone, because eventually you're going to bust one.
Sure.
Okay? You're going to bust one, and we're going to get this thing opened up, and it's going to open up our offense. But, if we're in the third quarter and we've rushed for 25 carries for 46 yards, this isn't working.
Now, I'll say this. I like coaches who use like the same formation to run different plays out of. So if you have been hammering the run, and now you give them the exact same look and they just think, okay, here comes another one of these runs. Right. You got this. And it turns into a play action. So I'm good with if it's a setup for something. Right. But if you're running halfback dive, keep running the same thing. and it's not working. Like if you're getting 5-6 yards every play, okay, it's different. Right. But if it's not working, try something else.
Right.
Try something else. Absolutely. So I was really surprised at how lopsided it was. But like you said, the defense looked fresh. The Rams defense looked aggressive. Their offense played it safe, which I think is different, right? Because what do we normally think of Matthew Stafford? Always going to throw the ball deep, and that's what gets him in trouble. He played it safe. So good for him that he was able to be that disciplined to get his first win. The reason I brought up the Cliff Kingsbury stuff is because people are now going to start to question: is the issue in Arizona the coach? And that brings us to this other game. Because in Dallas, what are they asking? Well, is it the coach? Because you have the most talented team on paper, and you can't beat a team that squeaked into the playoffs.
Tone, I'm not buying that logic. And the reason why I'm not buying that logic is because the numbers that you just ran down to me, 5-6, second part of the season, losing 6 of his last 8, losing 5 of his last 7. You know this when you're coach searching. So the evidence is right in front of you. So you know who Mike McCarthy is. You didn't just go back 10 years and see Mike McCarthy win the Super Bowl. No, what you did was you did homework on Mike McCarthy in its totality. So you know who he is, and you still decided to hire him. So when I think about you hiring Mike McCarthy, and after year 2, he's shown you exactly who you thought he was, and now, well, maybe we got the wrong coach. Well, I got a better idea. Maybe we got the wrong people in management.
Well, Jerry Jones ain't going to fire himself.
He's not absolutely going to fire himself. And Tone, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I might get roasted for this. I don't see the Cowboys winning until Jerry Jones is gone. I feel the same way about him as I did about the Raiders with Al Davis. I'm not going to see the Cowboys win anything until Jerry Jones is gone.
Well, they won. They did win under Jerry Jones. They did win like back.
Keep going. Don't keep going back. So don't stop right because it seems like you only stopped keep going back. You were in school when they were, and when I say school, folks, I don't mean we were in school. We were in school when these dudes.
It was long. I went. Here's my thing. Here's my problem. Sometimes I think 30 years ago is 1970.
No,
but it's not. It's 1992. So
1992 was 30 years ago. We were in school, Tone. So with that being said, this is who Mike McCarthy is, and you knew that when you hired him because you recognized who he was in his totality. This is the same guy who had Brett Favre and who had Aaron Rodgers in only 2 bowl games. 2 of them. He's been to the bowl game 3 times and 2 bowl game wins in 15 years.
Do you think that Jerry kind of limits the coaches that he can hire because he wants to have so much control? So it's really just guys who like Mike McCarthy, who honestly, I don't think Mike McCarthy was getting hired as a head coach anywhere.
He wasn't. I don't think he was getting hired as a head coach anywhere neither, Tone. And I look at Jerry Jones, this is the family business, and I don't think that he looks for a coach. I think he looks for a subordinate.
Right.
I don't think he looks for a head coach who let me do my job. I think he's looking for a subordinate. This is the Dallas Cowboys. This is how we do things, and this is how you're going to do things, as opposed to an actual head coach. That's why him and Jerry. That's why him and Parcells didn't get along. That's why him and Jerry, not Jerry Jones. How about them Cowboys? What am I thinking? Why am I?
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's why him and Jimmy Johnson didn't get along. That's why him and Parcells didn't get along. Because I think that he looks for subordinates. That's why Jason Garrett lasted as long as he did. And that's why Mike McCarthy isn't going anywhere. Because the first thing that you have to recognize, and Tone, you said this, I basically stand on this. When you fail quick. Now, if this wasn't the guy, you already knew that a year ago. So this isn't a situation where we're going to get into year 3, year 4, and you're thinking, well, maybe we hired the wrong guy. You knew that last year. If I'm not mistaken, Tone, did the Bulls, the general manager not call up Rod Thorne when they drafted Jordan and go, you didn't get this one wrong? So we knew right from the beginning, okay, we got this right. Yeah. Right? We got this one right. Same thing, Eli Manning. They called up the general manager. Yo, you didn't get this one wrong. I think we got our quarterback. So you knew, or you know, if Mike McCarthy is your guy going forward. Now, we have one of two choices. You can either eat it, or you should have eaten it last year, or you got to ride it out. Because we already know who he is, Tone. It's not news.
Well, listen, I here's what I think. Like what you're saying is correct. But I think Jerry Jones is going to look at it and say, we need, he's already come out and said this was the most disappointing performance ever. True or false, Mike McCarthy's going to get the blame for that quarterback draw with 14 seconds left and no timeouts. Like, that's just a boneheaded play. That's just a bonehead. Not only is it a boneheaded play, if I'm the quarterback, I don't even care that they call it. I'm audibling out of it. Right, I'm throwing the ball.
We're not running that. We can't.
What is he going to do? Bench me? I'm Dak Prescott. He's not going to bench me. I'm throwing the ball.
We can't run it. We can't run a quarterback draw in the middle of the field with no timeouts with less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But here's the thing. So we talk about that play. We talk about that play and how boneheaded and how the Cowboys lost the game. Yeah. But I don't think they lost the game. I think the 49ers won the game, and I don't think we're talking enough about how well the 49ers play because of there's always moments in a game, right? And when there's a moment like that was so kind of egregious that we all go, oh my God, right? We focus on that and we forget about the rest of the game. And as a 49ers guy, I want to leave it to you and tell me, what did you see from your 49ers that gives you hope going into Green Bay?
Well, we completely forget about the fact that, the Niners scored on their first 5 possessions and how they were moving the football, how we basically dominated the line of scrimmage, and how we were running the football, and how Jimmy G looked as calm as he did early. Now, I will tell you this, Tone. Jimmy G makes it very difficult to root for him when he makes some of the plays that he makes. But those are the things, this is who he is, and those are the things that you got to live with. Because at the end of the day, when we win, it's, okay, he did this. We got to make adjustments for next week. But when I think about what we did just with the ground game, how Mitchell was running the football, how we controlled the clock, and how Jimmy G was able to hit guys who were open and just scoring the football, this was way more of the 49ers winning more than it was Dallas losing the game. And I took offense to that, Tone, because it made it sound like, the Cowboys just blew it. Now, I will tell you this. I do understand that on paper, the Cowboys look awesome. Absolutely, they do. And the idea that, Amari Cooper, you trash. No, Amari Cooper wasn't trash. The 49ers defense did a great job of shutting the door on him. I thought they did a really good job of shutting the door on him, playing him in zone, and then playing him press man. I thought they did a good job of putting pressure on Dak Prescott and making I think that 3 of their first 4 possessions was 3 and outs, or 3 of their first 5 possessions was 3 and out. I thought they did a great job of putting pressure on Dak and changing up the line and changing up the defensive schemes and making him guess. I thought they did a really good job at that. So I definitely feel like it was more of the 49ers won as opposed to the Cowboys lost.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I think we're all talking about Cowboys losing. Mm-hmm. And I think we're forgetting that San Francisco came in and played a good game. Mm-hmm. So this is obviously, that was last week. Mm-hmm. On Friday, make sure to check out Fluent and Chill. What you should do is subscribe and hit that reminder button, so when the Friday episode comes out, you can see us make our picks, because we got some good games.
Yeah, we do.
Packers and Niners, Rams and Bucks, Bills and Chiefs, even Bengals and Titans. don't just because the Titans are the number 1 seed, don't think that's going to be an easy game for them. Because now I'm hearing rumors back and forth. Derrick Henry's going to play. He's not going to play. He's going to play. He's not going to play. That's a team that you never know. You never know. So it's 4 really good games that we're going to talk about on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
But first, let's put an end to this debate. Because you and I have had the conversation many times.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it on our lives many times.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of comments about it, even like just up until yesterday, this morning. I've been seeing comments about it. Mm-hmm. People want us to talk about it. So let's give you the for and the against, and then we'll kind of say what we believe. The greatest single NBA scoring game, apparently, supposedly, allegedly, was Wilt Chamberlain.
Here we go.
Scoring 100 points. Okay. There are many who believe it didn't actually happen.
My co-host right here is one of those people, but
we'll get to that. So let's do the 4. You want to do the 4? You tell me what's the reason you believe that the 100 points occurred.
Well, number one was there were people who were there who explained what happened. There were people who were there who, in detail, explained what happened. Who actually played in the game? The statistician. These are the people who spoke about what happened. Not to mention, it's documented, and it's documented with film, not actual. Once again, wait a minute, Tone. I didn't say video.
Okay.
It is documented with pictures that this actually went on. So, and there's no evidence to make me even waver that this didn't happen. None whatsoever.
How many people do you feel have said they were at the game?
I mean, if you said today, it was only 4,200 people, something like that. If I said you could probably get 10,000 people to say that they were there easily.
Yeah, 4120. It was the attendance. Okay,
and you could probably get 10,000 people to say that they were there. Oh, I was there. I was there.
Yeah, that's not a very compelling argument. I'm going to tell you right because right off the bat, let me ask you a question. When you go to a basketball game, no scoreboard, have you ever picked out a player, any player, and counted how many points they were scored?
I can't say that I have, Tom.
I guarantee, I don't even think this is a hot take. Not one person has ever gone to a game and watched and said, wow, without a scoreboard showing you, wow, Bob McAdoo's got 47 points tonight. No, you have no idea. You have no idea. You really have. You might be saying, looks like he's having a big game. Looks like they're scoring a lot of points. But without the scoreboard showing you, you have no idea exactly how many points they've scored.
Right.
So I've just eliminated 4,120 people because they don't know.
But wait. How are we eliminating the statistician, Tone?
No. I didn't. They're not in the attendance. They're working the game. They're working the game.
So you're talking about
I'm just talking about the fans.
Okay.
So anyone who says I was there, he did it because and the reason I bring that up, I've had someone message me and say, my uncle, which right away I believe it's a lie. If he said his great uncle or his grandfather, my uncle was there. No, he wasn't. He's one of the other 16,000 who say they were there, but wasn't. And he says he saw it. That's the question. Was your uncle keep it score for Wilt? Because I know the answer is no. And if you say it otherwise, you're lying. No one sits there and goes, wow, 2, 4, 6 to 100. I don't believe it. Okay, so I limit.
That goes on in baseball. They have scorecards.
Yes. Baseball. That would think maybe because that was a 2, 4, 6 double play. Sure. In baseball, actually, I would believe it more. So I eliminate the crowd. There was no film. You said there was film. There's no camera crew there. Why was there no camera crew there? Well, because the venue changed from where they were supposed to play to like a farm in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And that's why there was only 4,000 people there. But also there was no camera crew, even though it was the Knicker. I don't like saying Knickerbockers. It was the Knicks who were coming in. The Knicks were banged up. They were hurt. A couple of people, missed the game, etc. That's neither here nor there. I don't think it's because of the competition.
There is film, though, Tone.
But there's no film. There's no film. Hold on. No, there's no film.
Go ahead.
There's no moving pictures.
There's no video.
There's no video. Yes, there's no video. Okay.
There's no video.
So let's go to the camera crew. That's a great point. So the camera has photos of the game,
right?
Which prove nothing. All that proves is that the game occurred. That's all the photos. They didn't have 50 photos of every basket. Granted, okay, some were free throws.
Wait a minute, Tone. Where did you do that?
Did they have a photo of every basket?
Well, take the in 1989, 1990 when Jordan scored 69. Let's take the camera crew off. It's not a camera crew that snapped every photo of Jordan scoring 69.
Right. So what does
that don't mean it didn't happen though?
But if that was your sole proof and evidence, I could debunk that ever happened too, because cameras, it just shows that the game happened. That's it.
Which is the most important thing, Tone? The fact that the game happened.
Okay, let me ask you this. I'm not saying the game didn't happen. The game happened.
That's very important, Tone.
The game happened. Okay. So there's pictures. The next thing that people will bring up is they'll say that, well, there's a radio broadcast.
Which it was.
So let's listen to the radio broadcast. I have two questions about the radio broadcast. One, why did it take years for the radio broadcast to be released?
I mean, it was the 60s, Tone. I mean, we're talking about.
Why did it take years for the radio to come out?
To be honest with you, I can't tell you why it took years. However, there was a radio broadcast and people heard it. It went on.
Great. So let me ask you this.
Are we asking whether the radio broadcast was altered? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I'm going to ask a question. In the radio, because now, so you're saying there's a radio broadcast. Okay, great. In the radio broadcast, it says Wilt has just scored 100 points. There's still time left on the clock. The crowd has rushed the court to congratulate Wilt on his 100 points. Why is there not one picture of that? If you're a cameraman taking pictures of a game and the crowd rushes on to celebrate 100 points, why aren't you taking a picture of that? Wouldn't that be the first picture you take?
I'm pretty sure that I'm 100% confident that I saw pictures of Wilt holding his teammates' hands and people on the floor. I'm sure that I saw a picture of that. I am certain.
I'm yet to see that picture.
I
saw the picture of him holding up the piece of paper where he scribbled on 100 on it.
Right.
That I saw. You go back and you said, so let's go to your scorers table. This person has been mysteriously disappeared, but there was one of the scorers who came out in an interview and said, we didn't really pay attention as well as we should have as the game was going on, which I don't doubt. It's the 60s. They're smoking. They're like, whatever. Occasionally there was a basket, and I'm paraphrasing. This is not a direct quote, but occasionally there was a basket. We didn't know who scored it, so we just gave it to Wilt. End quote, or end paraphrase, I guess. So is it safe to assume that they're not paying attention? They're having a smoke. Oh, there's a basket. Who was it? Oh, it was the Warriors. Oh, okay. Who scored? I don't know. Wilt.
Because now you're questioning the credibility of the statistician, and not only are you questioning.
No, I'm not questioning it. They said it. It wasn't me. Let me just give you the overview then. Your case for it happening is, well, there's someone keeping score, even though we've never actually seen the actual scorecard. We've seen a printed up, typed out version of it, which they weren't sitting there like this typing it up. Okay, let's be honest. Okay, so we've never seen the scorecard. There's no video evidence of it.
No video evidence.
The camera crew didn't take pictures of the most important part when they rushed the court, even though the radio broadcast, which took years to come out, says that he did it. So there's your evidence. Mine is that, well, the scorekeepers weren't that reliable. There is no video evidence. The radio broadcast took years to come out. Wilt is notorious for exaggerating all of his numbers. Like, I keep seeing this quintuple double. They didn't record blocks and steals. How did he get that?
26 blocks in the game.
They didn't record blocks and steals.
14 blocks.
They didn't count them.
Somebody was counting them.
He did. He came off the course and said, I had 26 blocks. Oh, okay. If you're not counting blocks and steals, there's no way there's an official quintuple double. It's just not. So let's be honest. Has he ever exaggerated his numbers?
Absolutely, he has.
Therefore, there's a history of that. So all I'm saying is, could it have been 98? Could it have been 101? I don't know.
Could it have been 94?
Could it have been 94? Does that make it any less impressive?
No, it doesn't.
No. I'm just saying, there's a lot of little red flags, right? And so that's my case. So why do we bring this up? One, because we like talking about conspiracies. Two, what is your take? Do you believe? I keep pointing this way and you're over here. Do you believe here with Jay that it happened? It's a 100-point game just because people now say that it is?
I've given you this.
Or do you agree with me? And let me be clear on what I'm saying is that I'm just questioning whether there was actually 100 exactly points because there is no video. There's no proof of it.
Well, there is some.
So let us know in the comments.
I will tell you this, Tone. You make a compelling argument, absolutely, that there is some question.
Like if this was a jury, is there reasonable doubt?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is some question to whether or not. There is some question to whether or not. However, when I think about with my case, I have the statistician who was there. Like he said, I needed Wilt scoring 100 points like I needed another hole in my head. He used to work for the 76ers for over 60 years. He passed away finally. Not finally, but he passed away.
For the 70 Warriors.
He worked for the Warriors and then he worked for the 76ers.
Okay.
Yes, he used to work for the Warriors and then I keep forgetting his Bob something. So with that being said, he was the statistician and he took all the he was the scorekeeper that night. I would not question someone who had been working for the Philadelphia 76ers for over 60 years. I would not question him. That's number one. Number two, there is photo evidence that the game actually happened. Now, why?
The game happened. There's no doubt.
With the game happening, anything being altered during the game, I'm pretty confident that if that was altered during the game, then we got to question the entire 60s because not only was that game altered, we got to question Wilt's 55 rebound game. Maybe it was 58 rebounds. Maybe it was 60 rebounds. We got to question Russell's 51 rebound game. Maybe he had 45.
Have games never been fixed?
Games were fixed.
Have stats never been altered?
Yes, they have been altered.
Have players, officials, owners never cheated?
That has happened in the past. In this particular situation, I think that Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in a professional basketball game. I believe.
Well, let us know in the comments after you subscribe and smash the like button what you think about Wilt's 100. And next week, did we really land a man on the moon? Oh, yeah. That's next week on Conspiracy. We're going away from sports. So let's get back to sports. And we're going to go our mail. Is all NBA questions, and it's going to start with the big one because this isn't only about this season. This affects a player's legacy. Where they rank on all-time lists could be altered. Kevin Durant has a sprained MCL left knee. He's going to miss, I think, last I heard, 4 to 6 weeks. If he doesn't play, let's start with the absolute worst case scenario, which I know isn't true. But if he doesn't play another game in the NBA, for as great as he's been, 2 titles, one of the all-time greatest scorers, most versatile scorers of all time, does he rank? Has he done enough to be an all-time great? As of right now, I have Kevin Durant 17. I got him in my top 20 all time. I do have him in my top 20. I do not have him in my top 15. I do not have him in my top 10. He's very much, in terms of health, he's like what Kobe was when, Kobe tore up his Achilles. And then after the Achilles, then it was his shoulder. Then it was his knee. Well, same thing's going on with Kevin Durant where he's starting to break down. I think we're in year 15 now, where things are starting. Don't forget, he got hurt last year. He missed almost half the season because of a hamstring issue. This year, we got a sprained MCL, so he's not as durable as he was 5 years ago, and that matters because he was on his way to winning the league MVP. I think that's over. The fact that he's going to this 4 to 6 week timeline that they have, I think it's going to be 2 months, Tony. I don't think we're going to see him until after the All-Star break. I very much think that we're not going to see him until after the All-Star break. So with that being said, so now we're talking about a guy's legacy. So we got a guy in Kevin Durant who is still in the top 25 all-time in scoring. So I think he goes down. If it ended today,
I think he goes down. I have him as a top 5 scorer all time. So I do think he's one of the best scorers in NBA history. In terms of his legacy, 1 league MVP in 15 years, 2 league championships and 2 NBA finals, led the league in scoring 4 times, didn't make the all-league defensive team 1 time. He got on a really good Warriors team that he needed them way more than they needed him. So when I think about his legacy, I do think that he's a top 20 player all time, but that's as far as I'm going.
Let me ask you this. If he doesn't take away the championships, if he never wins an NBA championship, is he still in your top 20?
No, I don't think so. I put him in that James Harden, Carmelo Anthony, Dominique Wilkins. He's in that category.
Where is he all time? You said
I got him at 17.
No. Where is he all time in scoring? You said
he's in the top 20, top 25. I'm sorry,
top 25. Oh, top 25 in scoring. Okay,
yeah, top 25 in scoring as of right now.
I'm trying to find him, to be honest with you, because I don't. He's actually he's 28th.
Oh, so he's not top 25.
He's not
top
25.
30. I thought he was in the top 25 because he just passed Ray Allen, so he's top 30.
Yeah, he passed Ray Allen, Patrick Ewing, but he's still behind in terms of all time. Artist Gilmore, Jerry West, Reggie Miller, Rick Barry, Alex English, Vince Carter, Kevin Garnett, John Havlicek, Paul Pierce, Tim Duncan, George Gervin, Dominique Wilkins, Oscar Robertson, just to get to 15. Listen, if we go per game, we're okay. I think he's top. I think he's 5th all time per game.
I think he's 27 a game for his career.
Yeah, 27 a game. He upped that. He upped that this season, and good for him. But there's a lot of players who've scored more points for their career, because longevity, when it comes to that, matters, obviously. So if he's not top 25 scoring of all time, if he's not, like, does anyone talk about him as defensively?
No, they don't.
So if he's not top 25 in scoring, so obviously that goes to his longevity. He's not a defensive player. And again, I'm taking out, let's say he doesn't go to Golden State and he has no ring. What is he really? What has he done other than score?
He was buckets. That's what he was. Like I said, I put him in the same category with Dominique Wilkins. I put him in the same category with Carmelo Anthony. Maybe James Harden, but I think James Harden was a better distributor and a playmaker. But in terms of his legacy, if you take the championships off the table, he was buckets. That's who he was. He was primarily buckets. So we put him in that George Gervin category. Gervin, Carmelo Anthony, Dominique Wilkins, Alex English, guys who were just buckets.
So he's number 4. I thought I said 5. He's number 4 all time, just above LeBron, and below Elgin Baylor.
In what?
In scoring per game.
Okay.
Per game, because at 28, listen, he hasn't scored enough. I'm sorry. I get it. Is it possible that Kevin Garnett, excuse me, let me start that again. Is it possible that Kevin Durant is overrated? If he doesn't go to Golden State, hear me out now. If he doesn't go to Golden State and win those 2 titles, and you just said it, he needed them more than they needed him, because they already won a title without him. And the year before, granted, they had the biggest choke job in NBA history, losing a 3-1 lead to the Cavs. If they've already won, in fact, getting him on that team probably made their team as a collective worse. Hear me out, because all the players had to give up to make up the salary for him. Well, in terms of depth, they weren't as deep a team when they brought in Durant. They were better, top talent, better, overall better team. But I'm saying in terms of the depth, they gave up a lot of depth. Right.
Now, I won't even go as far as the depth tone, where I'll say that I think that it hampered Steph Curry. I think it hampered his production, and I also think that it hampered Klay Thompson's production, because he had to take a backseat to him too.
Right. Everybody moved down a notch.
Yeah, these guys had to take a backseat to him. But when you talk about being overrated, I think people I think they exaggerate the term overrated. Well, what do you mean when you say overrated? What does that mean when you talk about Kevin Durant? So we're talking about a guy in the 8 years that he played in Oklahoma City. I mean, they were in the Western Conference Championship, I believe, 3 times. In 5 years, they were in the Western Conference Championship, and they did make it to the NBA Finals, where he did average 30 and 10. They were overmatched by that Miami Heat team. No question about that. They were overmatched by that Miami Heat team, and he did get hurt. He did get hurt. And I think it was the year that Russ led the league in scoring. He did get hurt that year. So I think that they would have given San Antonio a bit more trouble than they actually did had Kevin Durant not gotten hurt. When I think about overrated, well, where do people rate him? I don't think Kevin Durant is. If you talk about Kevin Durant,
people are talking about Kevin Durant, top 5 player all time.
No, I don't think he's that good. I do not think he's that good.
And here's my point. And this is why I brought up the Warriors thing. I get it. He did go to the Warriors. He did win those 2 championships. He did get those 2 MVPs.
Yes,
but
he did.
What are we saying about a guy who's 28th all-time in scoring? Defensively, like, let's be honest, it doesn't do anything defensively. He's not, is he, he's
Tony,
people compare him to Larry Bird, right? He's nowhere near the defender Larry Bird was. Nowhere near the defender.
Tone, one time in his 15-year career, he finished in the top 10 in Defensive Player of the Year. Once.
There you go. Once. Okay. So if I'm going to read out, I get it. So I'm just saying 28th all-time in scoring. Mm-hmm. Sure. Per game, 4th. I get it. 15 years in the league. One of those years was completely gone due to injury, but from rookie season to today, it's 15 years. So here's what we got. Take the name Durant out of it. 4 scoring titles. I'm taking out the championships. 4 scoring titles. 9-time All-NBA, which means 6 times he wasn't. The Rookie of the Year, okay. All-Star, it doesn't matter. MVP once.
Yep, league MVP. That's
and Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we saying about anybody else? What are we saying about Bob Smith? What are we saying? Hold on. What are we saying about Elgin Baylor? If you compare accolades and all those things of Elgin Baylor, far exceeds Kevin Durant in terms of what he did in his career.
Correct.
And he scores more. So why are we talking about Kevin Durant and we're not talking about Elgin Baylor?
Well, the reason why is because Kevin Durant actually did win. That's the difference. Now, I know you want to take the championships off the table, and if we took the championships off the table, this is what it would be. He would be overrated, only except he did win. And I understand in the fashion that he won, some people want to question, but he did win. And he did go to the Warriors and do his job. I mean, he was the finals MVP twice. Now, in terms of him being overrated, like you said, Tone, even with the championships where people have him rated as a top 10 player all time, I don't think he was that good. People have him rated as a top 15 player all time. I don't think he was that good. I do think that he was a top 20 player all time. And I think that the championships propel him into that. Because of not just him winning the NBA championship, Tone, but because what he did to get there.
He's by far the best offensive player on that team. He was the MVP. And he was the MVP. I want to make sure everybody takes a second, takes a deep breath, and thinks about this.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant is a scorer. One of the greatest scorers ever. But you don't talk about other great scorers in the same fashion as you talk about Kevin Durant. And I just want to make sure everyone thinks about it when they want to propel him into that top 5. And I'm with you. I don't rank active players.
No, you do not.
However,
except for James,
sure. At 20 years, buddy, like if he retired 5 years ago, he'd still be where I have him ranked. So, whereas, so if Durant retired today, and maybe you have it right at 70, because I would say he would just crack my top 20 if he retired today. So maybe 17, 18, maybe I have him 18, 17, sure. I feel like people propelling him into that, ahead of these other guys. And I'm just like, you're not looking at it. You're looking at it. Wow, he can score. Okay, he can score. Oh, he's a 7-foot big man with handle. He ain't the only one.
Well, not only that, Tone, can we dead this 7-foot thing? What was Jordan listed at?
It depends on the day. Jordan was supposedly 6'6".
Jordan, they was listed Jordan at 6'6". How come we don't say Jordan 6'8"? Right. So what was Kobe Bryant listed at? Kobe Bryant was 6'6". How come we don't say Kobe Bryant was 6'8" or 6'9"? Kevin Durant is listed at 6'10". He's not 7 feet. It's not the same thing. He's listed at 6'10".
Well, he's been listed at 6'9", 6'10",
Right.
6'11".
Right. He's listed at 6'10", and that's what he is. So if we're gonna say that Kevin Durant was 7 foot, then Jordan was 6'8". That's what Jordan was listed at 6'6". So we're gonna say Jordan was 6'8". LeBron James is listed at 6'8". James is 6'10". Right. So if we're gonna do that, then we got to do that with all of them.
And it's interesting that we think that because most of the time they go the other way, right? Barkley was listed at 6 whatever, and he was 6'4", 6'3".
Right. You've seen him.
I stood eye to eye to him. Yeah, he's no way he's 6'6".
They got him listed at 6'6".
The other thing is they always go the other way. I'll tell you, I'm 6'3". I'm 100%, barefoot, doctor measured 6'3".
That's me.
But I was listed at 6'5".
Right.
They always bump it up a little bit, so you want to seem taller. Rarely does a guy who's 6'10", is he really 7 foot? Right. He's probably 6'9" and 3/4. Right. But I get it. So even if he's 7, my point is this: we're jumping a guy into the top 5 because we're watching him play and he's dominating. Like he should have been. He was you're right, on that way to be MVP this year. And I'm not taking away anything from Kevin Durant. I know people are going to say you're a hater. No, I think Kevin Durant, like I just said, I think he's one of the greatest scorers ever. I think he's the most versatile scorer ever. But let's not forget, there's a lot more that goes into basketball than scoring. And I think we've fallen in love with, well, if you score the most and you shoot the 3, then you're the best. And I don't believe that to be true.
Regardless of production, Tone, on top of that, like you just said, so when you look at a player's skill set and how good he is and what his bag is, what I concern myself with more than anything is what did that skill set and what did that bag produce? That's the most important. I don't care that you're able to throw the ball behind your back. I don't care that you're able to shoot fall away 30-footers. What did you produce with that? It matters to me.
Okay, I got 2 more in the mail drop, and then we'll let everybody go and look for Friday's show, because Friday's show is gonna be really good because we got a challenge from another show that'll keep that in your back of your mind because it's coming on Friday. All right, what is the bigger? If you have to weigh, what's the biggest reason the Lakers are losing? So the question is, the bigger issue with the Lakers, is it Anthony Davis's injuries, Russell Westbrook's play, or Vogel's coaching?
I think that it's a combination of those things.
Right. There's a gun to your head and you have to pick one, or they're pulling the trigger.
I don't think, well, let's take Russ out, because I don't think Russ isn't the reason why they're at the bottom of the league in defense. Russ isn't the reason why they're at the bottom of the league in rebounding. Russ isn't the reason why they're at the bottom of the league in turnovers. I think he contributes to it, but he isn't the sole reason. Russ isn't the reason why they're at the bottom of the league in assists against other teams. Russ isn't the reason for those things. Russ isn't the reason that they guard the 3 they're at the bottom of the league guarding the 3. So I'm going to take Russ off the table. So Anthony Davis, again, you got a gun to my head, Tone. Anthony Davis has been out for almost 2 months now. And that's 24-11. That's out the lineup. That's also a defensive presence that's in the middle. That's out of the lineup. That's a big deal. Now, when you also talk about Frank Vogel and his ability to figure out rotations, his ability to get these guys to play harder, I think that he's a catalyst to what they're not doing, as opposed to what they can do. So I could definitely put Vogel at the top of that list, because they could be playing harder. They could be giving a better effort. They could be doing better defensively. And I think Vogel has contributed to that.
So is it Vogel then your final answer?
Vogel is at the top of my list.
I was hoping you were going to, it sounded like you were going to say Anthony Davis, and I was hoping you were going to say Anthony Davis, because I'm 100% on Vogel. And the reason I think it's Vogel is when Anthony Davis was in the lineup, what was I telling you? They're not getting Anthony Davis easy buckets. They need to scheme plays to get him going, because he's the most, not the best, he's the most important player on that team. He does more, and there is a difference. He's the one that's going to drive their success by doing different things that he does, even though he doesn't want to be a center, but being one of the best centers in the league, if not the best when he's healthy. Right. But they need to make his life easier. And Vogel was not. So you touched on all the same. Listen, we know about Russ and how he's playing. We know his stats. We know all that stuff. Although what he did to poor Rudy Gobert.
I was just telling it's interesting you mentioned that real quick. I got to tell you that
I thought he lost his athleticism. When
I heard some people saying to me that, Russ was talking mess, and I'm thinking to myself, when I was a kid, if I would have dunked on Olajuwon, I would have said something to him.
Oh, yeah.
If I would have thrown that on Patrick Ewing, I would have absolutely said something to Ewing.
Have I?
No question about it.
I've never told you this story. I was at the University of Kentucky for a summer camp. I've told you that part. And I got a pass to the wing, and there was a player with his back to the basket. Yeah. And just as I came up from the right side and dunked it, he turned. So I didn't really dunk on him,
right?
But because he didn't even see me once he turned. Granted, that's bad defense on his part. However, as I skipped away, that skip that you do after you dunk, I called him Kenny Ground Walker. Now you know who he was. Because that's what you do.
Absolutely.
And that mine wasn't even technical. Like, he didn't even jump with me.
Right.
I was just like, it's close enough. I'm taking it.
Right.
Of course. Why wouldn't you talk smack?
I would have absolutely said something to Ewing.
Absolutely.
Back when I was playing, if I would have thrown it on the last one, I would have absolutely said something.
I would be James. I think it's James Johnson. James Johnson. They call him Bloodsport. Got all the tattoos up his neck.
Yeah.
He was playing for the Raptors, and he came baseline, and I want to say it was Andre Drummond.
Mm-hmm.
And he like took it baseline and just on Andre Drummond. It was nasty.
Yeah.
In the press and this would be me in the press conference. They were like, "Hey, they were going to talk about the game." The first thing he says, "See how I cocked it back and banged it on him." And I'm just like, "Yeah, we did."
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yes,
of course.
sir.
That's what you do. So yeah, I've no problem with that. So I'm like I said, Russ is doing some things, sure, but I don't think he's the biggest to. I think you're right. It's everything.
Yeah.
AD being hurt, of course, he's the second best player. I've said this ad nauseum. You lose the second best player on your team, you're not going to be successful. Pick any team, and I'll tell you why. Vogel's the one that your job is to make it when they're in the lineup, make their lives easier, and when they're out of a lineup, come up with ways to keep winning. And I'm sorry, the way that you keep winning isn't, well, James has to go off for 35, 40 points.
No.
Because he can't do that every night. You need to come up with a better plan than. All right. Last one. Whew. Now, I know he's hurt right now. He's out. But Damian Lillard or Donovan Mitchell, who should leave their current situation first?
I think that they've done everything that they can for Damian in Portland. I think that unit has exhausted itself. And Donovan's in year 5. So that Utah team, I mean, I don't think that they're at the peak of where they can be.
But it's Utah. And you've said he's never going to get the notoriety he deserves being in Utah, right? They were the number 1 seed last season. He had the stats, and not one person said, hey, maybe Donovan Mitchell should be the MVP.
Facts. Absolutely. That's absolutely a fact. And with that being said, I think about what Donovan has done. However, I think about Damian, and he doesn't have much time left. I think he's got 3 more years left at this level before he starts to slow down.
Okay.
And if he stays in Portland, he's not going to win there. I don't think he's going to win there. There's still room for growth in Utah in terms of winning. In terms of notoriety, I don't know if it becomes that much bigger of a deal. But for Damian, the clock's ticking on him, man.
Okay, I'm gonna say, you know what? I go back and forth because I hear what they're saying, like about Donovan Mitchell. I understand why the question was asked, but I think Utah, and maybe there's a lot of teams, but I think Utah's one piece, right? They got their guard, they got their rim protector, defender, and Gobert. I think you bring in another. It doesn't have to be a superstar, but you bring in another star player in there that can take some of that offensive pressure off of Mitch. I think, like, for example, I think they got, and Conley's still there. I think it's interesting. I think if Chris Paul goes to Utah instead of Phoenix, right? I think we're having a different discussion, right, about Utah. So, and this is no knock against Conley, but I think there needs to be that power forward, small forward, someone who can kind of help offensively with that team, and they're there. So, but with Portland, they keep saying they want to keep Russ and build around it, but they're going to have to blow it up, start over. And I don't think they can do that in time for Dame.
Yeah.
So that's it for Mail Drop,
Yes,
which
sir.
is my new favorite segment on the show. Look for us. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. On Friday, we're going to be making our next round of the NFL, making our picks, let you know who's going to win, who's not going to win this weekend. 4 excellent games. We're also going to talk about, we're going to do a little generational NBA game. So we're gonna take players and pop them into different eras and see how they do, because there's a lot of talk about which era would people still play the same. I've got an interesting take. I'm going to tell you my Steve Jobs analogy, which some people love, some people hate. But until Friday,
take it light, but take it.